masculine, and she opened her eyes to see her desert prince slipping lithely out of the saddle only a few yards from her. The wind was shrieking so loudly that she hadn't even heard the sound of hoofbeats. He was no native, and he certainly wasn't Lawrence of Arabia. That drawl sounded more like Texas than Oxford. "What does it look like I'm doing?" she asked crossly, shouting to be heard over the wind. "I've been told there's nothing better for the complexion than a sandstorm, so I thought I'd drive out in the middle of one and try it." She found her voice was quavering with nervousness, and it only increased her annoyance. "I'm trying to stay alive, damn it." The wind whipped that golden hair about his face as it tore at her. "You're not doing too good a job," he said grimly as he came toward her. "In a few minutes this is going to escalate into a full-fledged storm, and you're wandering around as if you were at a garden party." He grabbed her elbow. "Come on, we've got to get to shelter." "That's where I was going," she said indignantly as he hustled her briskly toward a cluster of rocks while leading the black behind them. "I was heading toward my jeep to wait out the storm." "Unless it's only a few yards away, you'd never have made it," he said tersely. "You'd probably have wandered away from the road and smothered to death within 10 minutes. She felt a shiver run through her that she tried to mask with a light laugh. "Nonsense. I have a wonderful sense of direction. I'd have made it." "I'm glad you're so confident." He pushed her behind the sheltering rocks that were barely waist-high. "Stay there while I take care of old Nick here." He led the horse toward another cluster of rocks nearby. Billie sank down into the shelter of the boulders and suddenly felt very alone and afraid. How stupid to be so scared. Soon the storm would be over and she would have survived it as she had all the others in her life. A white blur appeared through the curtain of sand that enveloped her, and the golden-haired desert man dropped down beside her. "It's not too bad here yet, but the wind is picking up steadily. We're going to get the brunt of it any time now." Her violet eyes widened apprehensively. "It's going to get worse?" How could it get any worse when the world already seemed to be splitting open and releasing all the gibbering fiends of hell? She drew a deep breath and said with forced lightness, "Well, it probably won't be all that bad. We have the base of the hill on one side and a humongous rock on the other to protect us." "Don't kid yourself," he said as he drew the loose hood of the burnous over his hair. "I've seen storms like this shift tons of sand and completely rearrange the landscape. An hour from now, there could be a 20-foot dune where we're sitting." "Do you have to be so reassuring?" she asked ironically. "You wouldn't want me to get too cocky about our chances for survival." "We'll survive," he said absently. "Lie down." "What?" she asked, startled. "Lie down. I'm going to cover you with my body. The burnous will give us both a small measure of protection. Not much, but we need every edge we can get." "But I don't—" He didn't wait for her to finish, and she suddenly found herself flat on her back in the sand with him astride her. He parted the robe to reveal a soft white shirt tucked into low-slung, faded jeans. Definitely not Lawrence of Arabia, she thought hazily. Then he lowered his body on top of hers, and she found that she couldn't think at all. She could feel the warm heat of his body through the material of the clothing that separated them, and it came as a little shock. He was resting his weight on his knees and elbows on each side of her, but she could feel every line of his lean, muscular body with a detailed intimacy that made her oddly breathless. Her face was pressed into the soft white shirt, and she was aware of a faint, lemony scent blended with the clean smell of soap and the tangy musk odor of the virile male. "I don't think this is really necessary," she said faintly. He lifted himself a little to look down at her, and she got another shock that was almost as great as the touch of his body. Good Lord, he was beautiful. She hadn't been conscious of anything but that golden hair and deep, vibrant voice in the swirling mist of sand that had surrounded them since he'd appeared beside her. Now there were only a few inches between them, and she knew she'd never seen a more beautiful human being before in her life. His finely molded bone structure was almost classical, and the golden bronze of his skin shone like the patina on a statue that might have graced the Acropolis. Still, there was nothing in the least hard or rigid in the sensual curve of